Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Lunch Table Podcast. In this video, we're going to give you our review for Loki, Episode 4, now streaming on Disney+. This will be a spoiler-filled episode, so you've been warned. Dylan, why don't you prune us off?
Oh, boy. Yeah. It was a pretty good episode, I'm not gonna lie. This is probably one of the best episodes I've seen from the series so far. Had a lot of drama, a lot of great character moments, a lot of like, oh shit moments. Like I didn't expect that one scene with Renslayer where she like killed everybody. I was like, holy shit. Yeah, it's ramping up to this big kind of like Chernobyl event for the TVA. And I love the interactions between Victor and Ouroboros too.
Yeah,
they kind of like play off each other like really well in this episode.
Nice.
But yeah, what are your thoughts on this episode?
Yeah, I love Ouroboros first and foremost because it is interesting. It's like the snake eating its own tail, and it is so many like things are now starting to meet up with each other. And it's that warning that we've got from Loki season 1, where it's like now everything is you could tell the stakes are really high and they're willing to do anything they can. And so that's where you get these really neat reactions between certain characters like Ouroboros, and I keep saying Victor Veep, but his name is Victor Timely. That's really cool. Yeah, the episode's pretty good. I'm still like a little on the fence with Sylvie's character. She kind of pissed me off sometimes, but she tried to help out, I guess.
Yeah, on her break.
Yeah,
on her 15. She's like, I'll help you guys out.
Yeah, she'll order a quarter pounder before she'll go and help like the whole multiverse.
She'll get the guys like a McNuggets. That's all her contribution is to the TVA.
Yeah, geez, Louise, Sylvie, get a grip. But yeah, I mean, this episode did get dark at the end. I'm surprised we didn't see too many memes of just Loki like looking off into the bright light or whatever. I hope we get them soon. Sure. But yeah, it was pretty. It invoked the whole surprise twist with Infinity War. And it just is just like a short episode, so it's like pretty cool how much you could kind of feel the stakes in this episode and the drama. So I think they pulled it off really great.
I love Loki's development too. It's weird great. Watching him from like Thor 1 and then you see him now and then how much he's changed. Like even just like the way he talks, like he doesn't sound like he's like an elitist or something. Like he talks like a normal person. And I love that conversation that him and Sylvie had about saving everybody, because Sylvie does feel like kind of selfish. And then I love that quote that she said, like, it's like we're playing God. And then he's like, well, we are gods. So it's like, in a way, it's like our responsibility to help everybody, right? And Sylvie really should be helping anyway, because she wants to fucking like fuck off at McDonald's or some shit. But it's like your reality is going to die if you don't help it. So it's like, who are you really helping if you're just like, living off by yourself, right? So at least Loki's trying to do something,
Yeah. It's just really, I don't know. I can see her point of view and I could understand it, but I find in the grand scheme of things, I just find it really ignorant. Like, but again, she is in a sense a Loki variant. So she has her own wants and needs and she'd rather fulfill them in a more like anticlimactic way, which is really interesting, and I think it's complex. So I do understand her, but I think to the rest, like everyone else, could kind of see it as
she's fucking stupid because she wants to burn the TVA down, and she's like, "Well, let's start it from the bottom up and start from scratch." I was like, "Well, why don't you just take what you have and just make it better?" Like at least Loki's trying to like reform them. Like you can see the little changes. Like even B-15 is like trying to like convince like the higher ups to be like, "Okay, well, we need to stop pruning everybody and stop." Taking away these timelines, because these are real people. We just need to make the system better, which I agree. It's like you kind of have, it's harder to start fresh. Just take the good stuff that you have and then just like reform it. And then just don't let like Kang or Renslayer like influence it. That's all you need to do. Why this bitch want to start from like reinvent the wheel or some shit?
It's like some father of a child holding a baby will say, "My kid's gonna die. Please help." It's okay, whatever. And then she like goes like somewhere else.
It'll be like that baby that tries to put the block in the circle or something. Right? Like it doesn't make sense.
Yeah, she's like what's that Spanish maid lady from Family Guy? It's like no,
Consuela. Yeah,
no. Yeah, it's like oh my gosh. But other than that, I think I love Mobius so far in this season, especially. I just love the relationship and dynamic between Loki and Mobius. We do get to the end where I think, again, we talked about a little bit earlier, It was pretty dark. I actually really like Victor Timely. How do you feel about Victor? I love his character. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I actually feel bad for him too. Like, I don't want anything to happen to him.
I know, he's so wholesome.
Yeah.
And it's weird because like we've seen so many versions of Kang so far that are like evil. So to see like Victor as like really innocent, I think it's really sweet. And to see, I always like when like villain characters, like even like Loki, like turn over good. I think that's, to me, that's more impactful than somebody turning good to evil. I don't know. And yeah, I love the scene with like him and Ouroboros, like the whole like who started the TVA handbook first.
Yeah,
I thought that was a really cool interaction. I just love the scientific aspect of this show so much. So like even if it's science fiction per se, I do like enjoy like their technical talk. It doesn't make sense to me, but I feel like I'm in that conversation somehow, and I kind of like understand what they're talking about. Maybe that's why I love Doctor Who so much, but because like it kind of feels like that in this show. Yeah,
well, interesting enough, the next episode is science fiction, the title of it, and it's blending science or fiction, and there is a good tease that we'll talk about in the next episode. What would you rate this episode, though?
I'd rate it pretty high, to be honest. I'd probably give it 9 out of 10. I think this was pretty enjoyable, and it was a pretty long episode too, which I enjoy. I'm glad Disney Plus is making these content more enjoyable and longer too. So I'll probably give it 9 out of 10. How about you?
Yeah, I would give it a 9 out of 10 too, to be honest. Loki's one of my favorite Marvel or MCU shows. And it has huge stakes too. And I'm glad that, there's a lot you can do with Loki to rectify the mistakes of the MCU. There's a lot of news about, they're scrapping this idea for another, trying to rectify their wrongs, like some of the stuff in Blade. There were some rumors about what was going on with that. And of course, now we have the Echo show, which they're going to start the new banner, which is Marvel Spotlight, which is really cool for, grounded heroes. So I'm always glad to see, at least if they're going to tackle more grounded heroes, I'm always glad to see Loki really trying to redefine the MCU. And it's an important show. I think it's a well done and well crafted show. And I do appreciate now the plot structure of how they're approaching these episodes. So
Common Loki W.
Common Loki W.
Common
yes.
Sylvie L.
Common Sylvie L. Yes, exactly.
Well, guys, if you stayed to the end of this video, we really appreciate it. Let us know what you thought of this episode and how you think the next episode and the rest of this season will play out. But yeah, check out our other content. We do plenty of MCU shows, plenty of Star Wars content, plenty of Disney Plus. But yeah, let us know how we're doing. Leave a like, comment below, help the channel out, help you boys out. But until then, thanks for having lunch with us.
We'll see you guys.